Okay, so welcome to the Your Desired Success Foundation Mastermind, all around paying it forward with the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have done unto you. And the way that we pay it forward is via our knowledge, our experience, coming together to really collaborate in a space of a spirit of harmony. So when we're talking about the power of the mastermind, Napoleon Hill, the world famous author of Think and Grow Rich, said that it is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps even the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely on your own efforts for success. So let's dive into the mastermind principles with Veronica first.
The purpose of the mastermind is to share our value and connect with like-minded people in order to create wealth in all areas of our lives.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real.
Sorry.
Right. We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Beautiful. Thank you, ladies, for setting the foundation of the call. And Carly, you almost forfeited that last one. I thought I was in with the shop there when you jumped the gun in Holly's place. So that was safe for you to finish there. It's a really empowering one. I really love that one. So I was actually doing the maths when it clicked over and I'm going to miss out by one. I need to figure that one out better next time. So, so today is around the power of the mastermind. And I'm not, it's not just because we're on the mastermind, it's actually the topic is around the power of the mastermind. So it is the 9th step towards riches, as Napoleon said. And I'm just going to preface the call now with this. So you must do it yourself, but you can't do it alone. Sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? No one ever scales the ladder of success without other people playing a role. If you want to succeed, then you're going to need help. But you shouldn't just ask for help from random people. Instead, Napoleon Hill recommends creating a mastermind with other talented entrepreneurs so that you can work on problems together. When 2 or more people join their talent, knowledge, and effort to achieve a definite purpose, Hill argues it's almost as though a third mind enters the room, one with more wisdom and experience than any individual member has. Almost all great achievement is the result of a group of dedicated individuals working together. So with that in mind, would we all agree that us being here right now is going to have a hugely positive effect on how we can move forward? Okay. So straight away from the beginning of this call, we're starting on a good, strong foundation. Now, I'd love to hear from anybody right now as we start this call as to what you received from reading this chapter. What was your biggest takeaway from reading this chapter? Anybody like to start? Yep.
For me, it was, especially for me, it became, and I've said this before, because I used to be on my own working in England and not have a team or anything or anybody to chat to who was understanding what I was doing. To me, this whole chapter just reinforces what I've believed since I've come into these masterminds, since England have got their own little team, and and like Holly's part of that, a new friendship that I've developed, and we've created a little team, and that it is about, and I think it's great to chat with men, and I've nothing against men, but I do feel that the women on board just have, I just really feel I'm moving forward quite quickly because of masterminding, being involved with other women who are doing what I'm doing. So that just reinforced everything that I felt.
Cool. Thank you for sharing, Mum. Anybody else? No? Okay, that's cool. So I just want to touch on this. On my website, I've featured, and I'll share the screen to show you. I featured this on the mastermind page on my website. I actually featured this. So mastermind success leaves clues. Many of the most successful businesses in the world have been products of mastermind. A Business Insider article once shared around these famous mastermind alliances. So Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard, Hewlett-Packard, 1939, computers and so on. Bill Gates and Paul Allen, Microsoft. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, Apple. Ben Cohen and Greenfield, Jerry Greenfield, Ben and Jerry's, and so on. So there's many more. So you can see the importance of people coming together and having really for a common cause. And has anybody here watched the movie Jobs? About the movie about Steve Jobs and Apple? I highly recommend watching it. One of the reasons is not only because you're all in business, but also because you're all on a journey of self-development, on self-growth, and to see what was needed and what happened, and the desire. Like we started a few weeks back where we went through the importance of the desire, the sheer desire and the vision that Steve Jobs had, and then the people he got and the way he constantly challenged it. It's just, I actually turned it on the other day to see how the internet was for us to be able to watch it. And just in the opening scene, I was emotional and tearing because with what we've been doing more so of late, I was able to really embody what where Steve was and where his mindset was. You know, if I'm going to be, can't think of the word, but just to try and get on that level, because he was vibrating at such an insane level as a visionary, and to change the course of literally the way we live in this world via technology. So there's a couple of things that I've highlighted throughout the book, and there's lots of arrows going here, there, and everywhere, as there always is. So the first thing is power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. Plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. This chapter will describe the method by which an individual may attain and apply power. Now, with that in mind, did you receive the description of this? So when it said around power is organized knowledge, okay, and this is where it's important, power is organized knowledge. There's infinite intelligence, and there's three areas here. Infinite intelligence, this source of knowledge may be contacted through the procedure described in another chapter with the aid of creative imagination. The second one is accumulated experience, the accumulated experience of man or people. I'm just going to try my best to reword it. The accumulated experience of people for the portion of it which has been organized and recorded may be found in any well-equipped public library. An important part of this accumulated experience is taught in public schools and colleges where it has been classified as organized. Remember that, and I'll just touch on this. Is anybody aware of what Andrew Carnegie said, who basically helped Think and Grow Rich come together, what is one of his most powerful statements are? Is anyone aware of that?
I can't remember, but I know you've mentioned it before. I just can't remember. I'm too tired.
So is it the one about he employs different people for the knowledge that they have? No.
well, there's that. So in the book, Napoleon talks about and says that he basically surrounded himself with a mastermind alliance of people who knew what they were doing in the steel industry. But what he actually said was, I will spend the first half of my life accumulating money and becoming like one of the wealthiest people in the world, if not the wealthiest person in the world. And then I will spend the second half of my life giving it all away. And what he actually did in giving it all away was he didn't just go and throw it out. What he actually did was he was the main creator of libraries around the world, around America in particular. And he was Scottish. So Andrew Carnegie helped give people a place where they could go to receive specialized knowledge for the likes of Think and Grow Rich and any other books. So just think of the power of that. And then the third one is experiment and research in the field of science and in practically every other walk of life. People are gathering, classifying, and organizing new facts daily. This is the source to which one must turn when knowledge is not available through accumulated experience. Here too, the creative imagination must often be used. So there's what I find is there's quite a lot of depth to what Napoleon says, but we can break it down. So each one of us are at this point where we are in our life and we've accumulated knowledge and we're learning constantly and we're trialing new things. We wouldn't be here if we weren't open to new things. So I'm curious to know, what is it that you feel that you bring to this mastermind? Probably a big question. But what is it right now? I encourage you to get out of here and travel down 18 inches into your heart. What is it you feel resonates with you that you bring to the mastermind?
Yeah, like what is your genius?
Yeah.
What is your specialized knowledge? Like what I find is that the mastermind really is, or every part of every chapter is the mastermind, because we're bringing our genius, our specialized knowledge, our participation. You know, like what else is in there? We're bringing infinite intelligence because we're in touch with infinite intelligence constantly. So depending on who's awake and who's not, that doesn't matter who's in the mastermind. At least one is in there with infinite intelligence flowing through them in the moment. You know, like, so, okay, that's me then. That's what I bring. Thank you.
Beautifully shared, Carly. Thank you. Always so much. Yes. Hey, who is that? Roger? Hey, Roger. That's all good, mate.
It is, yes.
Holly, did you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I just know in other masterminds as well as this one that when you commit yourself, you sort of amplify what you can bring anyway. It's like you're all buffering one another and it's all a big swirl of exciting creativity, and it can go anywhere. And I like that flexibility, and I am an open, like-minded person, so I bring that, and I love to listen and just help people out with, maybe if they're getting stuck with something, I maybe have been through that, so past experiences. But I do like to see where they're limiting themselves. And I like to speak into the group because I also hear my own limitations. So it's like, it's a two-way thing. I'm listening and thinking, what did I say that for? You know, and then it's really helping me as well. It's everything. It's helping others and it's helping ourselves. It's always been the teacher and the student all at once.
Yeah, beautiful. Great share. Thank you. Anybody else? Veronica?
Well, I find it really hard to identify what I bring to anything, but Julie said I create order from chaos, so I'll wear that one.
You create order and chaos.
Order from chaos.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. Okay, order from chaos. I like that. Yeah, nice. I find it. Sorry, had you? I find it really interesting when we put it onto somebody else in a nice way and an empowering way, is to say, what is it that you see? Because sometimes we can be so in it, we don't actually see the true gifts and what we bring. And I'm the same, you know, I was there, Veronica, as well, and going, what is it? Because there's so many areas that I've been involved in and that I'm growing in, there's not one thing like specialized. And I'll give an example of this. When I moved to Australia, my background's carpentry and building, and I got into the country based on my skill set. And when I arrived, I was asked on a building site, what is it you do? And I said, I'm a carpenter. And they said, oh, what kind of carpenter? And I looked at them like they had two heads and went, what do you mean, what kind of carpenter? And they're like, oh, first fix, roof carpenter. And I'm like, I'm a carpenter. That's like asking a chef if he does more than beans on toast. Like, I'm a carpenter. I can build the house for basically from scratch to finish. So what I realized though was that in Australia in particular, there are specialized people go and do a job and that's all they do. And that's what they do maybe for the rest of their life. But when I looked at the where I'm at now, is especially when I've been self-employed since 21, I went self-employed. And there's so much more that I bring rather than one thing. So I'm still working that out myself, but I'm always open to getting the feedback from others. But I know what I bring to this call is the ability around communication. I know that. That's been highlighted of my ability to listen and pick up on things, which I feel has helped me significantly in regards to current relationships and new forming relationships. Because communication is basically the foundation of things moving forward. If we don't communicate, things can collapse. So that's what I feel I bring to this call in particular on the mastermind. Roger or my mum, would you like to share anything? Yes, mother.
I'm to be honest, I'm not sure what I bring, but I know one thing I like to do. I always like to know that I've made somebody laugh when we've been on a mastermind, whether it be at my expense, your expense, Martin, or whatever. But yeah, I'm not saying masterminds are serious by any stretch of the imagination, but I can only learn if I'm giggling and fooling around. And that's the way I learn, and that's what I feel I bring to some of the masterminds.
Yeah, good. Roger, here he is.
Well, I don't know that I bring laughter to masterminds. I tend to get people laughing when I'm being honest and serious. So I don't even take the jokes. It's just the silly things I do. I think it's the thing of being open, but I tend to be able to work with, I think with every mastermind I seem to go in, whether it's for a few visits or regular ones like this when I can, it's that I can not only contribute something at the time, but receive and just work with people, I think, which is really good.
Yeah, cool, mate. One of the things, Roger, just as a heads up, I don't know if anybody else had a chance there. Have you got any headphones? Because it wasn't the clearness on the mic. Oh,
because I'm downstairs on my desktop, and I've got the headphones upstairs. Oh, yeah, I've got
that's all right. That's okay. It just didn't come through very clear for me. I don't know if it was the same for anybody else. I just find it hard. Maybe it's because I'm over 40 now. So, but anyway. I'd like to go on, if I may, around there you go, economic advantages. So Napoleon here spoke around it. Economic advantages may be created by any person who surrounds themselves with the advice, the counsel, and personal cooperation of a group of people who are willing to lend them wholehearted aid in a spirit of perfect harmony. So notice it's perfect harmony. And this is where I'd encourage you all, and this is, when I say you, I'm talking to myself as well, where to actually, if you've got a problem with somebody, try and communicate it as soon as you can to move forward, because if they're in your mastermind group, you're not in a place of spirit of harmony. Like, these challenges need to be addressed and get out and get on. And if those people, for instance, aren't willing to live by the universal law of forgiveness, then the question has to be asked, do you want them in a mastermind, or do you want to be on a mastermind with them? So there's there's a few things here that, like I've got people in my life who don't want to speak to me, okay, but I've chosen to forgive them and forgive myself, but I still choose to forgive them for the way that they behave. And they think that there's nothing wrong, but I go, well, you know, if we look at it from a logical sense, I go, well, I'm willing to talk to you and catch up with you, but you're the one who doesn't. So can you not see that you truly haven't forgiven? And therefore there can't be a relationship that's in a place of a spirit of harmony to get a desired outcome. That's why it's really important around that communication, around how we're showing up, around, like, sometimes we say, like Mark, for instance, growing up as a child, go and say sorry, but I didn't do anything wrong. Doesn't matter, go and say sorry. Well, that's forgiveness, because if there was a problem between two people, you have to be able to take ownership for one side of it, one half of it. Can't put the blame on somebody else. So with this here, a spirit of perfect harmony, this form of cooperative alliance has been the basis of nearly every great fortune. Your understanding of this great truth may definitely determine your financial status. The psychic phase of the mastermind principle is much more abstract, much more difficult to comprehend, because it has a reference to the spiritual forces with which the human race as a whole is not well acquainted. You may catch a significant suggestion from this statement. No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. Now, I've stressed over the past, how many weeks I've been doing this. You must get, and I'm being very bold here, and I do, forgive me if it upsets you, but you must get the unedited version. Because when Napoleon's speaking, he's speaking about vibration. He's speaking about a higher energy. So when Napoleon's saying around that third mind, I believe it's our vibration, our frequency shifting to a whole other level, opening up and allowing more in for a creation to take place. That's what I believe. What about yourself there, Carly? There was a big giggle there.
Just
don't miss a thing.
It just sounds like infinite intelligence to me. Sorry. Look, the third mind, I like that idea, but really it's just two minds blobbing into one energy and creating an outcome from the two minds that turn into one energy. And then depending on your wound, depending on how you receive it from that one energy. So one person may receive it very nicely. The other person has an issue like you're talking about and cannot forgive because they don't even consciously are awake enough to know that there's even that point is needed. Depends where they're at. Or they are awake and they're just so stubborn they can't get out of that. Like they can't see through the forgiveness angle, because how good is forgiveness? Like, when we get together in a mastermind and someone disagrees with us and they've got a different opinion, that's fantastic, because that gets you out of your comfort zone, them out of their comfort zone. Someone at some point had to step up and speak their truth, and we all get to grow in that, because then we all get to decide, oh, hang on, that's a great idea. Oh my God, I love that extra piece Martin just added in. Oh, Rosa, yeah, the joy. I love it when I attend a mastermind and feel Rosa's contribution of joy every time she speaks. Like, why would I not want to attend a mastermind and grow in that? Even if I don't agree with what she's saying, the joy gets me. The energy gets me of joy behind her words.
Yeah, beautifully shared, Carly. Anybody else want to touch on that? What anybody's feeling? No? That's okay. I can keep rolling, ladies. I can keep rolling. Around here, we've got, so bearing in mind all the time throughout this chapter, Napoleon's referencing to people, and Napoleon also shared, especially for those of us who have dived into Outwitting the Devil, which was the book. Napoleon wrote Outwitting the Devil after Think and Grow Rich was published, the year after, but Napoleon never published Outwitting the Devil. It was only released in 2011, I believe, because of the controversy around it. Now, I believe that if you read Outwitting the Devil, or you listen to the audio version by Sharon Lecter, and there's a few other people that communicate in it, it makes Think and Grow Rich make a whole lot more sense, in my opinion. That's what I experienced. There's a few people nodding, so that was obviously a similar thing. But Napoleon spoke about in that, and he spoke about it in here, how he had an imaginative mastermind table with very high profile people who he admired, and he would have conversations with them based on, and he says it in this chapter, I believe, when we get to it later, and he said that you know, there would be one person that was always rocking up late, and then one person that's doing something else, and everyone had and they were all like bringing their characteristics, and he was in that room with them or on this call with them. And that's the beauty of accessing that like Carly just said, then going into the one, really, and bringing it all in alignment and receiving the information. So here it said, analyze Mr. Ford's intimate personal friends, some of whom have already been mentioned, and you will be prepared to understand the following statement. People take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those whom they associate in a spirit of sympathy and harmony. Henry Ford whipped poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance by aligning himself with the great minds whose vibrations of thought he absorbed into his own mind. Through his association with Edison, Burbank, Burroughs, and Firestone, Mr. Ford added to his own brain power the sum and substance of the intelligence, experience, knowledge, and spiritual forces of these other four men. Moreover, he appropriated and made use of the mastermind principle through the methods of procedure described in this book. This principle is available to you. So, anybody got anything to say on what I've just read there? What are your thoughts on Henry Ford? What do you know about Henry Ford? Are you empowered by Henry Ford? Veronica?
I actually, watching the movie, it was really, really kind of hit it home as to what he had to do. And it was just an example of him being slandered by one of a newspaper, and he took him to court, and they're trying to tell him how stupid he is. And he's like, well, you know, I may not know, you know, this and that, but I may not know who was the first president or whatever, but, you know, I know how to source the right people to put them in the right places to create what I want to create. So, yeah, that really hit it home.
And that's, in my opinion, then, when well, actually, I'm going to put this out to you all. Henry Ford, would we all agree that Henry Ford basically helped create the motor industry? We all agree on that. So what he did was surround himself, like Veronica just said, then he surrounded himself with people who knew how to do what he needed them to do. His knowledge and experience was limited, so he found these people. So where in your life right now can you step into Henry Ford's shoes? Does that question make sense, Carly?
I love that question. We are stepping into that situation right now, sitting here, because we chose to show up and learn from each other and use the specialized knowledge of each other to contribute in this mastermind for us to all evolve individually and as a collective.
Beautiful. Now,
If I
I'm
might
going to
say
put...
something, Martin.
Sorry, Roger.
It's okay if I might say something. You know, I find in mastermind groups, there are often people who I know have different sort of spiritual understandings to me and hold different views, but at least they listen and don't make some comments. Like, for example, a week ago I was looking at getting an audiobook, The Power of Positive Thinking, and I came across two extremely negative, hateful views. And the reason is they didn't like it because of the, well, they call it religious, but they mean quite strong Christian things that comes out in their book. And I thought, I think you're missing the whole point. When you look at the power of positive thinking, you give your source. And I hear like Carly and other people about their positive thinking, their sources. But, you know, whether I agree or not, I listen because I might be able to gain something. But because someone has a view different to your own, doesn't mean you just toss it out. For example, when I did my master's degree, and I compared a Christian worldview to a naturalist one, and that was sort of like what we call my thesis or something. And I got pulled up on two things because I called the naturalist one a load of rubbish, which I thought was a nice way to put it in an essay, but you don't say those things in a master's paper, you know. And the other thing was, and this was a Christian lecturer who said, can you go look at other like worldviews or philosophies is what they can add to like your view. I can have my point of view, but can I accurately use this other one to actually pull out what needs to be learned, if you know what I mean, like the power of positive thinking. And I think, okay, I was right, I shouldn't have done that. But the thing is, I really learned from looking at the years. I can look at it. See, the whole idea is if you can take some of these atheistic worldviews and make science grow, I mean, it doesn't disprove the Christian one, but it makes it grow. You know, instead of when they can't find answers, say, hey, this is not working anymore, the atheists go out and find another worldview or philosophy and start to make improvements. More than say the Christian side would say. I thought, wow, that was a really, really good learning lesson for me, you know. And so that's why I have no problem listening to others. It's like, can I learn from this?
Yeah, wow, thanks for sharing there, Roger. There's definitely I haven't got my phone here. Just excuse me a minute, Beth. Can you just turn the lights on, please? I haven't got my phone, but I actually wrote down all of the areas that Napoleon said, the 12 areas around riches, and the first one is a positive mental attitude. That's the first one to achieve any of your riches in life. Positive mental attitude. And we were driving. I've been listening to the audio quite a lot. It's about two hours long, I think. And they just take snippets of each chapter. But and I was driving and I was going through, and the positive mental attitude really hit me hard. And I was like I wasn't hearing anything. I was going, okay, when am I not in the positive mental attitude? And there's also that thing of don't beat yourself up. Don't let it all get on top of you. That we're living in this life right now, and there's things going on that are out of our control. So, you know, like the border's being closed, so I can't go over to see my mum and the family and so on, you know. So they're like, those things are out of my control, but there are a lot of things that I am in control of. So if I stay in a positive mental state, it's only going to be better for the way that I choose to show up in the world and the way that I choose to receive. So I could moan and complain that I haven't been back to England for 5 years, and carry on just complaining and not in a good state at all. Or I can choose, okay, well, this is happening for a bigger reason, and what am I going to do about it in this time, and make sure that I'm maximizing what I can. And it's amazing how when you start to go down a journey of reflection, you start to realize that, wow, the old me would have been doing this, but look at what I'm doing now. Look at how these things don't affect me anymore. Look at how I'm constantly looking out there for a new way, a new direction. And that to me is an important part of the growth. But one of the things that I wanted to come back to around this question that I just asked is, Carly said around the importance of the mastermind, like being here with us right now. But what was it really that started for Henry Ford that you have access to? What was it really that started it for Henry Ford? Go on, Veronica. Carly.
I was pointing to heaven.
Oh.
Yes, what?
Well, fully
Infinite
enough,
intelligence.
Veronica's just above you on my screen, so I thought you were
Oh,
pointing up to
no.
Veronica.
Well, she's infinite intelligence, so it's
Yeah.
probably right.
I saw Henry Ford. What he did was, like, he was an entrepreneur, and somehow he got this idea about what we would call a car or something from one or two other ideas, and thought, well, hey, there's a good idea, explore it, and look what's happened. So what would have happened? We probably wouldn't have the cars we have now, like Ferraris. That's probably a good thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's a major thing. Someone just sees something, you find the same thing happen with computers. We wouldn't be here without computers, because it wasn't just Bill Gates and whatever. There was a number of other ideas, and but Bill Gates pulled it together. And what's his other the guy with Apple? What's his name?
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, Steve Jobs. I mean, he did something, and you have this competition, but the two nerds who, for want of a better word, entrepreneurs who come with different and competing, and one triggered the other. And I said, yeah, I think it's just amazing what can happen.
Yeah, some really good points there, Roger. The one thing that I really wanted to see if anyone picked up on was the burning desire. Henry Ford had a burning desire to invent the automobile, and for it to become the main form of transport for everyone around the world, basically. That was the burning desire. And what he had to do to make that happen was get around an alliance. So the reason why this is really important, and remember that the reason why I chose to create this space was to help people move forward and achieve their desired success. It wasn't for me to come on and spend an hour of my time. Okay, now it's really important that you choose to be open to what I say here and not have a level of judgment attached to it. The intention behind it was to help people come and achieve their desired success, not for me to come and just spend an hour of my time. So what I'm saying here is that you choosing to be here is going to help you achieve your desired success. But the first question is, what is your desire? Because if you're coming here to just feel a bit better, which is fine, but you're saying, I want a better life. I want more. I want money. I want to be able to communicate. I want to have better relationships. What is the desire that is really bringing you here to leverage the knowledge? Because once you get clear on the desire, you are going to receive far more from these calls. You are going to hear people speaking. You're going to think, you know what? I need to learn more around this person. I need to receive more of their value. I maybe need to get on a mastermind, a masterclass. I need to find out how I can get more. So for me, I put myself in higher level, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to anybody on this call, but I put myself in scenarios and situations where I am, in my opinion, and I'm not saying this from a place of disempowerment, but I am the dumbest person in the room. I'm not saying it from a place of disempowerment. I'm saying it from a place of empowerment, because I go, these people I can learn from. I can tap into their knowledge. I can walk into their library, which is in their mind, and pick up all this information. So I walk in with a completely open mind, rather than walking in going, I know it all, so I'm just going to be the one who's going to give it all, and everybody's going to come to me. No, I'm ready to absorb. I'm that sponge that is dry, ready to go into the bucket of water. So that's why I feel that it's so critical to get clear on that desire. And it doesn't have to be money. We've stressed this so many times. It can be anything. Right. So the desire for me for the end of the year, so this is to help at least 2,400 people receive the value of all the vaults and what we're creating in the YDS community. The money is a byproduct of me helping these people. And I know for a fact these people coming in are going to receive that much value. It's going to take them way, way beyond what their current desires are right now. Way beyond. But when I turn around and say it will bring into my bank account X amount of dollars, people go, oh, if it's about money. You go, no, that's your own position. That's your own place. So it's really important to get that desire. Henry Ford didn't say, I want to be the wealthiest man in the motor vehicle industry. That's not what he said. But did he become one of the wealthiest men in the motor industry? Absolutely. Andrew Carnegie had a far bigger vision than becoming just the wealthiest man in America, than to just go, woohoo, look at me, I've got all this money. His vision was, I am going to give this back and give it to the people, knowing that there was only going to be a very small percentage of people who would access it. I can remember where I lived in Southport, driving past the library at least twice a week, and I never went into it. Never accessed it because I didn't know about this stuff. This is where it's really important that we're looking at what are we creating it right now? What are we doing that is aligned? Because I know that these conversations that we have on this call are building relationships, are building trust, are helping people step out of their comfort zone. And therefore, the likes of Veronica and Carly, for instance, who I didn't know before I started this. Like I started this thing with the intention, as I said, of helping people achieve the desired success. I built a very strong relationship with Veronica and Carly, helping them on their path. But it started with the desire to go out there and be of service to others by sharing the value. Now, where that goes, and if this journey carries on for whatever period of time, if it's not for the rest of our lives, fantastic. But it was very clear. And when I was on a call last night, a leader, a mentor of mine said that in the industry of business, especially like online businesses or network marketing or coaching or something, but more so in the home-based business model, and especially network marketing, 3% are the top earners, approximately, okay? These are just approximate figures, 3% of the top earners. So that's why most people say, oh, the people at the top earn. People who got in early, the early adopters, they're the ones that earn. 27% are the people who are willing to do the work. Okay, the people who are willing to show up, listen, be on the calls, go away and do what they've been advised or what they've been empowered to do. That leaves 70%. What do these 70% do? Nothing. They've drawn the line in the sand and they said, I don't want to live this life anymore. This is crap. I haven't got enough money. I can't do these things. I'm struggling to pay the bills. I don't feel like I ever have any time for myself and my family. This is not good. And they've drawn that line in the sand. And you know what? They never step over that line. But they tell everybody that they were going to. They tell, and then they turn around and say, didn't work for me. Those things don't work for me. I'm not lucky enough to have that success like they are. It's like, no, the reality of it is you didn't do the work. The amount of people that I've spoken to that are on these calls and so on, and I say, oh, have you accessed the abundance game yet? No. Oh, so on that strategy call that we had where you said you wanted to achieve this and this was, you were fed up with this and you really wanted your life to change and improve for you, and I advised you what to do, you felt that what I advised you based on how it's worked for me wasn't going to be of any benefit to you. Do you get where I'm saying here? It's not that I'm any better, But if people are coming to you and asking for advice and you say, well, this is what I did and these are the results I got, if you don't choose to take action, nothing is going to change. And that's why the power of the mastermind is so important, that when you're clear on your desire and you're taking aligned action and you come onto these calls, you receive far more value. Is anything coming up for anybody? Does anybody want to say, no, I want to knock you off your preaching stand, Martin? Go for it.
No, Martin, I've taken some notes of what, I know what I need to do to manifest my burning desire, and I'm working on the skills for that. And one of them is the skill that Henry Ford had, and most people like that do have, is the ability to find people and put them in the right places. And I think that's so important because, you know, I've tried to grow my business, my accounting business, and I brought people on board who were like showing up, and I thought, yeah, that'll be great. And even though I even had them do their like profiling, and Gary's partner, who's a complete opposite of Gary, actually was business coaching me, and he was too subtle for me to say when he was telling me this person is not appropriate. But because I liked her a lot, because she's a lot like me, I kept her there, but she was not appropriate for the role. And it just about sent me to the wall. So I learned the hard way, and yes, I know that's a skill that I still need to keep learning. But also another thing that I've seen you do, and Gary does it too, coming from a higher perspective. So it doesn't matter how much I'm wanting my burning desire, but if I don't come from a higher level to enlist people, if I'm just telling them the mechanics, they're going, I don't understand. But if you just give them the highest level you can possibly get to and say, this is its purpose, then that's how I've come to realize that's how you get people on board. So thank you.
Absolutely. A great share there, Veronica, and thank you. Let's bring it into, based on what we started with, around Think and Grow Rich for women, which this is for men. Well, it's not for men, but it's written in certainly a male time. Think and Grow Rich for women was described as it brings into the world we live in now. It ties it all in beautifully. So if we're going to tie it in beautifully in regards to what we shared then, who here has a car? Yep. There are thousands of moving parts when you turn that key. And when you put your foot on the clutch, you put it into gear, whatever you do, and you let go of the brake and you start driving, a lot of it works in a spirit of harmony to get you to what you want to go. Okay? At no point when you go to buy that car, especially from a dealership, do you say, I want to know everything about this car, right the way down to the tiny bolt that's holding the head gasket on. You're just not interested. What you want to know is, will this car get me from where I want to go, from where I am to where I want to go? Will it be reliable? You know that it's got 4 wheels, you see all the outer surface. The same as when you grab your phone. You don't need to know how the whole thing works. You just need to know that when you press call mum or call whoever, friend, it calls them. The same as the light bulb. When you flick the switch, you want the light to go on. You don't need Thomas Edison to tell you the whole 10,000 plus times that he was going through it to get to the final result. And this is why it's really important to be looking from that space of, I don't need to know all the logistics. I don't need to know how it all works. And you know what? I'm not interested in how all these things work. What I am interested in is the outcome. So I had a conversation with a friend yesterday who's in a couple of days ago, who's in a really dark place. And I said to him, I've seen this. I've seen where you can be and what you can do. And I'm not saying about, I've just thought this will be good for you. I've actually seen you in this space and doing it. And thousands of people coming to hear you. Now, I'm sharing a vision with him. And I'm helping him step into something that is extremely high value of his, because I know him. So I'm not going, this is how, in this example, this is how Noble Goldman works, and this is exactly how the comp plan is, and all this kind of stuff in the platform, and the logistics and the way it all works is irrelevant. He is focused on what is in it for me, and I'm able to share the vision with him. Now, sometimes you don't need to be in this really strong state that I was in then, but you're able to, if you can get clear on what is important to people, how are people speaking, how are they showing up, once again going back to communication, listening to people. People want to be seen, they want to be heard. So listening to people and giving them the opportunity to tie in and go, hey, what if you were at a platform where you could be heard, where you could be seen, where you could be sharing what fills your cup to help other people? Would that be of value to you? Is it important that you earn money doing that? Some people aren't attached to it. Some people aren't interested. But the reality of it is that the money, and this is why the desire is so important. Once you get clear on the desire, you start to see that where the money, which is an energy, and as I'm looking right now, all I can see is this energy flowing behind Holly's head. This energy is ready to flow in because the desire is clear as to where it's going to go. And this is where I shared it the other week. We want to buy, Beth's parents have said that they want to sell off part of their land on a farm. We want that land. That land is $600,000. And Beth would like to have Beth's dream is to have an animal sanctuary. So we look and go, we've already created exactly what we're going to do. We'll have the money by July, August next year to buy that. And we'll have the money coming in huge quantities to then start building the infrastructure for that. But the important thing is we're clear on what our values are, and the energy, because we're vibrating and we're living in accordance with our values right now, the energy is flowing in, and therefore it will continue to flow. Because it's not about saying, hey guys, look, I'm an incredible leader because I've earned all this money. That is BS. That is superficial crap. That is really not speaking from the heart. That is ego tripping. Now, that's fine if that's where you're at, and that's a judgment from my side. I own that. But you know what? The reality of it is that it's the way people don't remember how much money you have in the bank. People remember how you made them feel. That's the thing. So you look at it and go, if we're living in accordance with our values, we can attract. And when we're at that level, vibrating at that higher level, we naturally attract people who are in that 27% to the 3%. So that 30% there, we're attracting in because we're clear. And they're the people we want to be masterminding with. Because the people, the 70% will eventually just go, oh, this is too much. And that's why I say, this call is a free call to help people get started. It's a stepping stone. But when we go from this call, and Carly and Veronica in particular will vouch for this, when we go from this call to the next call in half an hour, when we have our roundtable call, which is happening on Monday, we're functioning, operating at a higher level because it's serious. I'm stepping into, I've got 2,400 lives minimum at risk at stake here whilst I'm communicating with you. What we create here is going to have a huge impact on those lives and the lives that you want to impact. And only one of those lives is so valuable right now. And there's over 2,400 of them waiting. So I'm not willing to waste my time, the precious time we have, doing things that are small and thinking small, because I wasn't put on this earth for that. There was a time when I would have accepted that, but not anymore. And that's why it's important to be constantly stepping up. And like Roger said there, do you feel like it's you're being negative by saying that and thinking that? As I said, Roger, I didn't say it from a place of disempowerment. I said it from a place of empowerment, to be open-minded to absorb that. Because I know that I've got incredible value. And I'm not saying that egotistically. I'm saying that from a place of love and confidence to self. Yes, buddy.
Oh, me. Oh, yeah. I just wondered, like if you mean, I mean, wasn't actually accusing. I was just thought, well, you know, you don't have to say I'm the dumbest person in the room, but you could see, and this is what teachers have to do, because I'm a teacher, make it proactive. So, well, I think there's 5 other or 6 other people in this room who are a lot smarter than I am, or at least, and they could receive from me. Is that what you were meaning?
What? Sorry, because you're really echoey, buddy. Say that again.
Oh, probably because I've got a different sort of microphone than the one I normally use. If your meaning is like, or did you mean I'm not as smart as everyone else in this room? There's everyone here, I can learn a lot more than I can actually give them. Was that what you're getting at?
Yeah. So if you look at it like this, at the moment right now, there's 6 people on this call. And let's say Joe Bloggs comes to me and says, Martin, I would love for you to coach me. I want to start an online business and I want to be super successful. And I go, okay, right, Joe, let's start at whatever, point A. I would start working with Joe and I go, do you know what? Joe would really get a lot of value from speaking with Veronica. Joe, I'm going to connect you with Veronica. And then Joe goes and does some work with Veronica, and he's working with me, and he goes, oh, wow, I've got so much now. We come back and we carry on moving forward, and we go to point C, point D, and then I go, it's time to speak to Carly. And then I refer Joe to Carly. And the angle, and the reason why this is so important, and I laugh inside at the way one lady who's in the coaching space, the balls on her, I'll put it that way, the balls on her, the way she communicated that. She went, people don't need anybody else but me. I'm the ultimate coach. And I just rolled my eyes. I was like, wow. You know, and these are the kind of people that have on their Facebook, coming from ego is forgotten about, and I'm from a higher place. And I'm just, oh, bloody hell, here we go. So the angle of it is I know that I have a limited amount of value to serve somebody, but by us coming together and working collaboratively, we can then help the person literally climb the ladder like this together. And that's why it's so important, especially around NG, is the power of the vault with the masterclasses and the masterminds. People will be attracted via what the value I offer, but I know that Veronica and Carly in particular, Russ, Lisa, Ancha, and all these other people who have got masterminds and masterclasses add additional value. And we're leveraging and working together as an ecosystem to help the person get to where they need to get to. Because at some point, they won't need me anymore. But what Lisa's teaching, they'll need that next level. What Russ is teaching, they'll need that next level. But it started with me starting the ball and being open to, and not going, and this is where collaborations, in my opinion, is far, far greater and more conscious than competition, rather than going, I need all the sales. I need all the leads. Some of you in the Enagic business know this. I could easily keep all that information to myself, but I don't. I could easily keep it to just myself and my team, but I don't. I share it out globally. Why? Because it's about raising the consciousness globally to become more aware, and we all win together. Anyone who thinks there's not enough people for us to all win together is naive. They need to read Happy Pocket Full of Money. You know, like if everybody went to the banks now and tried to get out all the money, do you really think the money exists? No, it's not even real. Like, this is the reality of it. So it's the power of let's come together and be stronger. Does that give any information there, or help Roger or anybody else? Not just Roger.
Oh, yeah, I do agree with that. I like that.
All good, buddy. All good. So the whole angle, and I also just want to be very clear with everybody. I'm not saying go out there and start your own mastermind, okay? Because some people think that's what they've got to do. You can leverage And like Andrew Carnegie said, leverage the minds of other people. There's over 500 minds of information that have been shared in this book. Leverage the other people. Leverage this call to help you get to where you need to get to. But if you don't have a starting point, you don't have a destination, what is going on between this part? If you feel these calls are serving you, that's fine, absolutely fine. But I'd encourage you to challenge yourself and really pull yourself, because I've literally ripped myself apart countless times to get to where I am. The same as the muscle only grows by tearing the fibers, by doing the bicep curls, by doing the squats and so on. That's how it grows. So how we grow is literally tearing ourselves to bits to actually go through. And I'm saying this not from a point of beating ourselves up, from an angle of asking ourselves, what is it that we want? Not what is it that your husband or your wife or your partner or your friends want for you. If I listen to my family, not my mum, but if I listen to my family, I'd still be a carpenter. Now, I was a very good carpenter, but it didn't fulfill me. Like, this is really important. It didn't fulfill me, but I'm extremely good at it. So I had to detach from what other people would think. I had to detach what all their advice was. Everyone's got an opinion, and they all think that they really care about me and they really love me. But the reality of it is, if they really cared and loved me, they'd say, what is it that you want? And we will support you 100%. But no, because it doesn't fit in with their world. And that's why it's so important to surround yourself with people, in many cases, you've not even met before physically, and go, wow, these people are my people. These people truly do care about my success, truly do care about where I want to go. But at the same time, you've got to ask yourself that question, are you willing to step up? Because if you're willing to step up, you'll be surrounded by people who are vibrating at that higher level, and they are reaching down and saying, hey, come on, let us help you up here. Because we know that when you're up at this level, you are going to be achieving far more in your life. You're not going to hear all that noise down there. Because everybody's at the bottom of the mountain going, oh, I bet it looks fantastic up there. But the people at the top are going, oh, it looks fantastic up here. There's a lot more noise at the bottom than there is at the top, because most people won't climb that mountain. But we're going to climb it together. So next week, I believe, is transmutation, the mystery. Oh, this was fantastic when I understood this one. The mystery of sex transmutation. The mystery of sex transmutation. Is there any comments before we wrap this up?
Yes.
Carly.
I just love how you've got this passion behind, so burning desire, but it's actually like a little, it's like, okay, obsession. I'm going to add that in there, Veronica. This passion behind your burning desire, like how you could add those two words together, and seriously, you're all those little elements, like your passion to upgrade yourself, but anyone around you is magnetic. And so that then catapults all of us, even though we may have geniuses in certain areas that we're passionate about, because we're here on this mastermind to personally evolve, your passion is around that. And so that's why you make a good leader for these masterminds in Noble Goldman. Like, yeah, finding what you want, but there's that passion, that burning desire that gets you momentum to keep going, where the other people you're talking about, the 70%, have lost the momentum. They've never really known how to tap into it. And so until that awakens in them, they're stuck in the 70%. But sometimes it takes like an experience of a nightmare or a wound or something where you nearly go to heaven instead of staying on earth to wake you up, and hopefully you wake up before you get to heaven while you're here in the physical, and then that burning desire reawakens because you realize there's more. You know, the 70%, it's like they're asleep, but they're only asleep because they don't believe they can obtain what the 3% believe they can have, and the 27% think if they can do it, maybe I can. But the 70% just don't believe it at all.
No.
They can't see it, they can't feel it, they can't tap into a burning desire because they've never known how to.
Yeah.
So then it comes back to that compassion, like no matter who shows up at these things, just holding the space of unconditional love and compassion so that the person feels that and starts to hear the truth, wisdom, and know, like learning in anyone else's share. And then that helps them to tap into the desire and want more.
Yeah. Yeah, great share, Carly. And what's, if I leverage Carly as an example here, Carly was told by someone who she viewed, I don't know if you still do, as a leader, that Carly would never be successful in this space. Well, you know, and then she comes on and she's around, and all I see is Carly's going to be arguably one of the most successful out of all of us, because she keeps showing up. Even when I post into the private chat group around, I might not be able to get on the call, Carly's there, bang, I'll do it. Like, crikey, no one else had a chance. The hair was gone and the gates opened and the whippet was out. So the key there is the fact that we have to be open. And the beautiful thing around why the 3% are so important to be in reach. Okay, so not necessarily, it's very hard to get around the 3% because that's where they're vibrating on. So they're very conscious of who they let in to not affect that energy. So the 3%, and this is where it's really important, the 3% have already achieved their desire. Whether that's monetary, whether that's the body they want, whatever it is, they've already achieved it before it's become a physical reality. They already see those numbers in the bank and they live in accordance with those numbers. They're already having those conversations with the people on what they want to invest in or whatever it would be. So they're embodying that energy, and that's why it comes into their life. Because the only way it's not is by us saying that we're not worthy of it. Now, what's important is that 27% are feeding off the energy and the information and so on to help them. But the 70%, as Carly said there, are not even willing to listen. They think that, oh, do you know what? I watched an hour YouTube video today on motivation. I've done my personal growth. No, you haven't. You got some more information, but what did you actually action and implement in your life to now shift it from an intellectual understanding into a spiritual understanding where you can embody it and you can feel it? Because like Napoleon said, if you're able to emotionally connect with your desire, emotionally, and the top emotion's faith. So you've got to already see yourself there. If you're able to emotionally connect with it, you have already achieved it. Sorry, Veronica. You've already achieved it. Bye-bye, darling. Thank you for your contribution. You've already achieved it. So really step into this and embody it. You know, I don't mean to come across like I'm preaching and telling you what you should or shouldn't be doing, but really go into that space and let that come in and make that decision. Where do you want to be? 70%, 27%, 3%. And if you're in the 27%, which is a great place to be, in all fairness, that's the starting point, in my opinion. And you're willing to be open, and you're willing to not only just keep jumping on calls and getting all this information and just like flooding your brain, actually taking action. You know, I can show you the affiliate comp plan for NG. I can show you comp plans for other companies, and I can get you all excited, and I can give you all the hype about how amazing communities are. But you know what? Until you help other people receive the value of products or the services or whatever it would be, you do not earn a cent. Just think around the importance of that. Until you help other people, and that's why Zig Ziglar said, you can have everything in life that you want if you go out there and help enough other people get what they want. That's literally how I embodied that quote from Zig Ziglar. I live by that quote. Go out there and give people exactly what they want, and you can have everything you want. But I do it because the way that what I feel back, and remember, this is where it's important to be clear on your values. Connection is an important value of mine. So being connected to other people is a high value. Therefore, it raises my vibration. Therefore, I attract more into my life. Core values are a key to the success. We have gone over time, and I do apologize, guys. I know that, well, obviously, when people are starting to go, it's a good sign that I need to go. And also, we've got the next call in 14 minutes. So I do want to say thank you, everybody, for jumping on the call and contributing and sharing. We are going to be back next week with the, what did I say we're doing? Next topic, sex transmutation. Yeah, the mystery of sex transmutation. So we're going to dive into that one. So whether you're reading it from Think and Grow Rich for Women or Napoleon's version, come to the call with what the biggest takeaway that you receive from reading that chapter. Okay, and we'll dive in deeper. But thank you all. Go and enjoy the rest of your day, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.